This is a terribly divided country. We're not only politicized, a lot of people just hate the other side. And CNN, in my view, should be the place where both sides can watch. How do you think you're doing with that?
Yes, unfortunately, this football season, I am an Alabama fan.
I'm the guy who talks to the whole country.
It didn't bode so well for us last week.
I talk to the whole country. I got no enemies. We're thinking of the other guys.
CNN's a very corrupt organization, but with a corrupt reporter standing right there, never smiles. She never smiles. She's a young, beautiful woman, never smiles. I never see a smile off her face. I see her standing there with hatred in her eyes. Be ashamed of yourself. You used to be a conservative. She was a conservative from Alabama. Can you believe it? But CNN, in particular, CNN does such false reporting. But now they have new ownership, so maybe it'll straighten it out. I doubt it. But it's hard to straighten garbage.
Bill Maher has turned his attention to Kaitlan Collins and CNN, and it's brutal. Maher suspects the two of them are doing America a great disservice by reporting half-truths. To the outspoken comedian, it all looks like an agenda against Trump and the Republicans. So, what did Kaitlan say, and what did CNN do that caught Maher's attention? And what was his response? We've got all the clips lined up here, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on everything we'll discuss today.
You made press because you were on Stephen Colbert's show, and he said something like, you guys at CNN just report the news straight, and the crowd burst into laughter. Look, I'm on CNN now. I guess we're on it right now. I mean, they show this show the next night. I don't know how how we get away with it with all the but they do. And all these dirty jokes. But I'm glad, and I'm a big rooter for CNN. But that tells you a lot, doesn't it? I mean, how do you guys think you are doing this in that arena of like, this is a terribly divided country. We're not only politicized, a lot of people just hate the other side. And CNN, in my view, should be the place where both sides can watch. How do you think you're doing with that?
So, let's get right into it. This is exactly what draws so many people to Maher. His refusal to mince words and his knack for cutting straight to the heart of the matter, no matter how uncomfortable it gets. Maher's question here is refreshingly simple, yet loaded with implication. Plenty of people believe CNN leans heavily toward the Democratic Party, and he wanted to know what Kaitlan Collins herself thought about that perception. It's a bold, almost confrontational question to ask a journalist directly to her face on air without softening it. Honestly, there aren't many journalists out there who would have the nerve to pose that question so bluntly, let alone sit across from someone at CNN and put them on the spot like that. It takes a certain fearlessness, and Maher clearly isn't afraid of ruffling feathers. So now, let's pause and watch how Kaitlan actually responds to being asked that directly. Once we've seen her answer, we'll dive into...
Think about the fact that Kamala doesn't talk to the press. In a way, I feel like it's more insulting than what Trump does. And Trump says you're the enemy of the people, which is pretty bad. What she's kind of saying is, I don't need you. I'm not talking to you. You don't matter. You're not relevant anymore. To me, that's even worse than I hate you. It's like, I don't think about you.
I don't know if it's worse than denigrating the press on a daily basis, which is what Donald Trump did. I mean, I covered him in the White House every day as a correspondent, and oftentimes to kind of shake you if you were asking him a question, he would try to get into a personal argument with you, or just deny or lie about what you were asking about.
Maher's classic unfiltered comeback. Maher uses this question as a clever tool to expose what he sees as glaring hypocrisy from Kaitlan Collins and CNN. For years, the media has relentlessly called out Trump for the way he addresses them, his jabs, his nicknames, and his combative tone during press interactions. Yet, what they've conveniently never done, according to Maher, is hold Kamala Harris to that same standard, despite her tendency to avoid sitting down with them altogether. Maher's observation here is refreshingly simple, yet undeniably valid. If the media truly cared about respect and accountability, wouldn't dodging interviews entirely be seen as a bigger issue than simply being blunt or combative during them? To Maher, Kamala's pattern of sidestepping tough questions and avoiding direct engagement with journalists actually shows more disrespect toward the press and the public than anything Trump has said in his usual confrontational style. It's a double standard that, once pointed out, becomes hard.
Appropriate to bury the Hunter Biden.
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course. You don't
but
follow
I'm
this.
saying you know for a fact that that's what they did. I don't know what they did.
I know, because you only watch MSNBC.
No, that's
to ignore. And Maher isn't shy about naming it exactly as he sees it. Here, Maher specifically calls out MSNBC while raising a broader point about how some major media outlets handled the Hunter Biden laptop story during a politically sensitive moment. To Maher, the issue wasn't just the story itself, it was the timing and political sensitivity surrounding how it was covered. Maher points out how outlets like CNN covered every single inch of Trump's legal troubles and courtroom battles, dedicating hour after hour of airtime to dissecting each development, each filing, and each hearing. Yet, when the Hunter Biden laptop story first broke, that same network nowhere near matched that level of scrutiny or urgency. There was no wall-to-wall coverage, no relentless follow-up, and no digging for further details the way there was with Trump. To Maher, this discrepancy isn't a coincidence. It's proof of a double standard, one where the press picks and chooses which stories deserve aggressive investigation based on who stands to benefit or lose politically. And that
There was what you'd have to call some sort of media suppression of Hunter Biden's computer right before the election.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
Okay, so,
and the truth is, I still don't know what I think about that. And sometimes,
right.
But I mean, to actually parse everything in there and figure out just how dirty Biden Sr. is as a result of the information there.
Can I go to step two? But nothing really. It was common. So it was the kind of sort of everyday graft that's sleazy, but doesn't affect the world. Probably.
Yes.
Hunter Biden sold his father's influence to get money, but Joe Biden himself would not give away our nuclear secrets to the Chinese. He's not, he has a soft spot for his son, his ne'er-do-well, stupid son.
I mean, you've heard his voicemails to his Hunter.
So, like, Dad, I'm in a little bit of a jam. Could you just meet with the Chinese guy next week? It would mean a lot to me. And Joe would do it, and then Hunter would get the money for the meeting.
he argues, is exactly the kind of selective reporting eroding public trust in the media today. Maher draws a direct comparison between Trump's legal troubles and Hunter Biden's. And when you break it down, he argues that Hunter's situation carried far greater national implications because of his close relationship with his father than the sitting president. Hunter's business dealings and foreign connections raised questions that critics argue deserved serious media scrutiny. That's not a small concern. It touches on the integrity of the presidency itself. Trump, on the other hand, faced allegations that were largely centered on actions involving individuals, not the state or the nation as a whole. His legal battles received far more media attention, while questions surrounding Hunter Biden's business dealings did not receive the same level of sustained scrutiny. Given this disparity, Maher argues the media's priorities seem backwards. If severity and potential national harm were truly the guiding factors behind coverage decisions, Hunter Biden's story should have received far more scrutiny and attention than it ultimately did. Yet,
are going to be showing over the coming weeks and months. You're not even going to believe. Some of you will believe it, like CNN will believe it because they knew what was going on. They're crooked as hell. CNN's a very corrupt organization, but with a corrupt reporter standing right there, never smiles. You never see a young, beautiful woman, never smiles. I never see a smile off her face. I see her standing there with hatred in her eyes, like she has hatred because we have borders, because we have a strong military, because we cut our taxes, because we do things that everybody wanted, and then we win our election in a massive landslide. You should be ashamed of yourself. You used to be a conservative. She was a conservative from Alabama. Can you believe it?
the opposite happened. So, when Trump finally came face-to-face with Kaitlan Collins in the Oval Office, it was a bloodbath. Take a listen. Now, many might interpret this as a straightforward attack on CNN, but if you're familiar with the long, tense history between Trump and the network, you'll understand exactly what he's getting at. Trump, much like Maher himself, isn't one to mince words. He says things directly, often bluntly, right to the face of whoever he's addressing without worrying much about diplomacy or optics. CNN, along with many other media outlets frequently associated with left-leaning politics, has repeatedly faced accusations of unfairly targeting Trump, scrutinizing his every move while rarely, if ever, giving him credit where critics believe it's genuinely due, whether it's policy wins, economic numbers, or other achievements during his time in office. Critics argue these outlets consistently downplay or ignore.
What did you make of how the rumor that Trump was spread around the I guess this is apropos to your theme of the book, whenever. But this was just a rumor. I mean, you should answer this too, because this is your beat in Washington. There was a rumor that Trump, because I mean, to me, it just shows how much he's in our heads, that when he doesn't appear for a day, we're like, he must be for a minute. I mean, but,
what was crazy about that was sometimes there are these rumors that appear online and proliferate. This was pretty widespread. Like, I had people who I think have a pretty tight grasp on reality asking me if this was true.